Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
A person who is a realist or somebody who has a common sense, obviously that person is going to be successful.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Professor of the Year. We've been interviewing professors from all over the country and getting amazing insights, not just about how they run their classrooms, but also about the current situation all over the country. And they've given us a lot of succor, a lot of reassurance about how we are going to navigate our careers, our education in these difficult times. It gives me great pleasure to now go to Delhi, to go to the home of business management, to Faculty of Management Studies in Delhi, and reach out to Professor Bardhan. Thank you so much, sir, for doing this with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. Sir, to begin with, what kind of students should look to pursue a career in operations? Like, what are some of the skills and attitudes that they should have to be able to do well in a career in operations?
A person who is a realist or somebody who has a common sense, obviously that person is going to be successful anywhere else, but these trait is a must in an operations manager. Now you need to have a customer facing operations department. So you have customers outside the organization and you have your functional departments within the organization or customer inside the organization. So an operations manager has to deal with both of them, and their motivation and their requirements can be very different from each other, right? So when you have to deal with both of them, you need to be very balanced in your view and have to have a good negotiation skill, right? And when I say that, another thing that becomes important is maybe somebody who can work under pressure. That is what is required in today's time in all the functions, but in operations also there will always be a pressure on with deadlines and other things. So somebody who can deal with that, then they are going to be successful. So these are 3-4 traits which I think, and openness for new technology and an eye for innovations, new idea. These are plus that is valued in operations manager. A student who has these kind of attitudes will definitely going to be successful.
So you said you deal with a lot of analytics also, and you said the role of technology that is being played in operations. So then, keeping those larger themes in mind, including data, what are some of the emerging areas where professionals trained in the skills of operations are going to get employed?
Yeah, you are right. Analytics is going to play a big role, and companies are actually looking for people who would be working in the operations area to actually have some good knowledge and skill of tools of analytics. So the way companies are operating is changing, and technology is playing a big role. People who have a back analytics and they can uh, make sense out of data. Obviously there are tools, that means they should be able to use those tools or develop their own tools where they can transform data into decisions. So I can give you an example. Say you have to take dynamically change your pricing, or you need to route your delivery personnel, and you have to find out maybe what is going to be the capacity for the next year. So these kind of things have to be fed by data, and people who can actually do that are going to be in high demand. So that requires certain amount of skill, and these skills need knowledge of analytics and application of analytics. People who are more aware or more conversant with use of technology and application of technology, they are going to be more comfortable in those environments.
Sir, as someone who has a close understanding of healthcare, what are some of the operational strengths and weaknesses that the Indian healthcare sector has currently? Because we are in the middle of the COVID-19 situation.
Indian healthcare system has public health specifically have evolved over the years, and in
Right.
my view, the biggest strength is the capabilities that we have built over the years, and the learning and the knowledge that we have gained. So you see, we have run a very successful program in polio eradication, then in tuberculosis, and then in HIV/AIDS. And there is infrastructure, manpower, which is available, which are trained and which can be deployed in a short notice. And with these campaigns, we have generated immense amount of knowledge, and these can be also be employed when required. And if you ask about challenges, challenge with India is always with the number. So we have a very huge population. So even if you say that we have a kind of a resistance to viruses or diseases, and our fatality or mortality would be less, but that 0.03% or 0.01% or 0.001%, when you compare that to some 1.5 billion, that becomes a huge number, right? So that and added to it the diversity and the difficulty in the reach that we have. So that are the added challenges that our public health system will face in fighting against COVID-19.
So what role is data and analytics going to play in pharma and healthcare from here on, given the added focus on these sectors in the coming years?
A very small typical example would be a hospital. You would have 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, a limited number of operation theaters, right? And there will be a huge queue which would be waiting to be operated, right? Certain procedure has to be carried out. Now, how these are to be scheduled? Because each of them would take different time, and there is going to be an uncertainty. So if I have to find out a schedule which increases the utilization of OT at the same time, reduces the wait time of patient, that can help a lot to everybody, all the stakeholders there, from the hospital to the patient to the public at large. In public health also, the government has to prioritize, the government has to allocate resources, but resource allocation has to be done in such a way that the outcome is optimal and wastage is minimum. It has to look at efficiency. So in such situation, data analytics plays a very important role.
So can you give me examples how pharma companies are using analytics and data today to better optimize their operations?
So there is a video which is going around that maybe the vaccine for a polio, the vaccine for measles took so many years, hundreds of years to get developed. But when we want to have a vaccine for COVID-19, pharma companies are saying they will be able to do that maybe before February 2021, right? Within 18 months or 16 months. So this period, this span has reduced drastically. And how it has reduced? Because the previous knowledge can be employed. So use of data, use of analytics has given us the capability. Obviously, there are other technologies which are there. So analytics will be playing a supporting role. By employing analytics, they have been able to reduce the period.
If you could tell us a little bit about what is going to be the impact on service operations from here on because of COVID-19 and the other subsequent things that are going to happen in our economy and in our environment.
Organizations, the way they look at risk and uncertainty, that is going to change. In my view, immediately after COVID-19, this situation clears out. So people would be a little bit more risk averse. So they would like to invest in their supply chain, invest in their organizations in such a way that they develop certain kind of agility, flexibility, so that they are more resilient to these kind of shocks. But as things passes, things will become more normal, and their risk attitude will change, right? So the economy grows, and it grows more rapidly as people become more adventurous, more risk seeking.
Often it has been difficult to get large organizations headed by people who've been in those organizations for several years to adopt technologies at the right time, at the right speed. Uh, these kinds of black swan events push them to do those adoptions much faster than they would prefer to. So how do you
Yes.
see the adoption of technology within the operations processes is going to get impacted because of COVID-19 now?
From an organizational perspective, adoption technology has variety of drivers, and one of the most important driver is a cost benefit analysis, right? Obviously, I would look at it, how much benefit I'm going to get by adopting this technology, and what is going to be the cost. The second, and maybe that qualifies the decision that you take based on the first criteria, is what kind of competitive advantage this adoption technology is going to give me, and for how long a period. So these are the things that is always running in the mind where when companies decide on adoption of technology. In India, we are kind of better off. I will because some of the companies that I have visited, I have seen that being late in adoption of technology, our technologies our companies have technologies which are newer in comparison to many advanced countries, because they were uh, adopting newer technologies maybe in the 80s or 90s. We are more attuned to incorporating the incremental innovations that are happening over these technologies, whereas the advanced economies which already had adopted technologies in 90s or early 2000s, they kind of having a legacy issue and kind of a pushback when we talk about newer technologies. So I would not say that there's a resistance in Indian companies. They are aware of what is happening worldwide, and they are always open to new ideas and new technologies.
So thank you so much for doing that with us.
Yes.
We wish you all the best for your coming year at FMS. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. All the best to you too. Thank you.
Hi guys, InsideIIM has come up with an exciting new one-on-one mentorship product where you get to interact with superstar managers from different businesses, different functions. You can ask them everything around your career, your education, your future success. If you are interested, the link is in the description below. Thanks.